Thank you very much. My name is Marcial Jesus. I'm from Chile. And I'm going to introduce you today to our company philosophy through a series of images that we've been developing over the last 10 years. So, straight to the point, our company's mission is essentially developing public spaces that improve the cities and the experience of citizens in the public realm by creating those public spaces that are accessible to everyone. Now, those public spaces are not just regular public spaces. We call them hyper-stimulating public spaces. 100 Architects was founded 10 years ago, and our headquarters is in Shanghai. But from Shanghai, we develop projects to the world. Essentially, about 80% of our projects are being developed outside China, in Europe, in the US, and also the Middle East, mostly now. Our operations have a global reach. It is because our product is very different, I believe. We don't do standard designs. We do what we call the hyper-stimulating architecture. We work in the public space or semi-public space that generates urban landmarks that function as people attractor. So we specialize essentially in public spaces, urban activations, and spaces for entertainment of all typologies and variations. We believe that working in the public space is a privilege because it's where our reach, our impact as designers have the largest reach in the biggest amount of people. So I believe that it's an honor to work in the public space. And again, our studio doesn't do buildings, although that's not completely true because all our projects have buildings. We are architects. We are not landscape architects. We are architects, and we care only about what is in between the buildings. Our experimental approach aims to transform the landscape, the urban landscape that we know today, into the one that we envision for tomorrow. At the end of the day, we specialize in street architecture, urban interventions, public spaces, and street activations or urban activation. And why is this important? The new generations are not like we were before. The new generations are experience seekers. They value more the experience than material things. Therefore, I believe that also nowadays a public space is not enough as when we were kids. We require to stimulate the user in a different way. They are not the way we used to be. They are exposed to a different way of sensory stimulation. Because of that reason, the concept of playground has changed. We keep saying that we do playgrounds not for kids. We do playgrounds for the city. We do playgrounds for adults. And that's our main concern as designers. That's the focus of our practice. Our office is an experimental lab for creating urban solutions that will shape the cities of tomorrow. I want to show you what are the key factors to develop our architecture. The first one is contrast with its context. We always design architecture that is extremely contrasting with its context. In that regard, I believe to be quite different to what traditionally we were taught in university, right? That the project needs to blend with its context. Well, we on purpose do the opposite. And although it looks like you can take it and put it somewhere else, it's custom made. It's absolutely bespoke for the position that the project is located. Another very important thing is aesthetic independency. Depending the location of the project, to take recognizable images, icons, that they are already pre-existent in the collective imaginary of the citizens of certain space in order to create objects that they already exist. That you look at our projects and you will say, this is an Arabian door, this is an octopus, this is something else that has an aesthetic independency. It resembles something else. On the other hand, our projects are pop and controversial. It's pop because it's easy to digest. It's pop because it's colorful, because people will like it easily. But it's also controversial because it's disruptive. It's in the public space, in the public space that belongs to everyone. Another very important factor is instant functions. For us, it's really important that our projects are accessible, are touchable. You can approach them from different perspectives and do many things on the projects. They are embedded with condensed functions. And also, obviously, foster interactions. What kind of interactions? Digital interactions, physical interactions, interactions among users, social interactions in general. Fantasy or surprise. I look for the user to believe that he's inside a video game. I want them to feel like they are inside a video game. The project needs to provide this immersive experience in order to attract. Why do we need more playful cities, I wonder? Probably that question comes along every time that we show this. Well, there's a bunch of reasons that I can think of. Among them, a better quality of life, more social interactions that at the end of the day lead to better wellness. This thing called the playful learning that takes place in the playful learning environments that is a kind of learning that is being found to be extremely effective for kids that are learning social interactions, that are learning collaborative skills. This is something that I believe that we would all benefit if our cities were more playful. Therefore, I believe that we need to attract people back to the streets. We need to attract people back to the plazas. We need to reinvent the plaza, because the plaza is not enough anymore. Now we need to compete with an iPad. The iPad needs to be less interesting than the plaza. How do we do that? Well, we use a lot of creativity. When you see a furniture designed by our company, the furniture is not that obvious how to use it. You will have to figure out by playing with the furniture. And as I said before, our projects today need to compete with an iPad, with an iPhone. They need to compete with technology. Not only compete, they need to work with technology. Every project needs to become a virtual landmark. The project itself invites us well to hang, to swing, to rest, to lay down, to watch, to chat, to climb, to take a selfie. Every project needs to have a spot for a selfie. And therefore, one of our conclusions in our practice is that play is not only for kids. We all want to play in the city. The city is our playground. The city of the future, we believe, will have way more playgrounds than the city nowadays. And it will have playgrounds for adults too. We believe in those public spaces where the limits between the play area and the rest of the cityscape are blurred. The playground concept has changed. We in fact don't call it playground, we call it playscape. And the limits are blurred. So then the city becomes the playground and the playground becomes the city. Now I want to show real quick a few quite celebrated projects that we've done in the last 3-4 years. This is the Nest. It's a project that is in a residential area in Chengdu. This project obviously has a narrative, a very immersive narrative. There's 3 birds, and then there's different green areas. There's also small pocket plazas with different kind of activities. Some of them are for kids, some of them are for youngsters, some of them are for elders that would be playing, for example, mahjong. So the point here is that we all want to play in the city. We just need to figure out how people want to play and how different generations want to approach the public space. This other project is in fact in Guangzhou. And it's a park, it's a plaza that is surrounding this exhibition center and also a construction space. So we were asked by the client to actually do some hoardings that would be blocking the views from the site to the construction areas. So we have a main plaza in the center, but at the same time we have different kind of tables, different kind of activities taking place in the urban park. There's always spots that will allow different kind of users to have fun in different ways. For example, mahjong tables and things of that nature. Then we have this project that is called Over the Rainbow. Of course, as you can see, it's inspired in the song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, right? It's on the top of a rooftop of a shopping mall. We work also in semi-public spaces. What is a semi-public space? It's a space that has the same logic, the same nature that a public space, but is operated by a private entity. This project is done in the rooftop, used to have no function, where the air conditionings were stored and other kind of machinery. So as you can see, we work a lot of times with retail operators or with real estate developers in order to help them to put their projects in the map, to create a project that will provide an experience. Because nowadays, to bring people into the shopping malls, you need an experience. This Lollipop Street is in Shanghai. We finished this project about 2 years ago already. It's inspired on a candy world, right? The idea is that you look at it and you feel a little bit hungry. Is essentially on the intersection between 2 roads. It's absolutely a public space, but it's operated by a private entity. And again, it's a project that has all kind of activities and spaces for different age groups, from water guns incorporated in the playscape, to climbing surface, to hammocks to have a rest, to conversation capsules, etc., etc. This, if you happen to go to Shanghai, you will see in all the streets of Shanghai our phone booth. China Telecom hired us to revamp the phone booths that are spread all over the city in Shanghai. Because what are phone booths? Now that everyone have a smartphone. So we proposed to have a cabin that it has many technological advantages compared with the previous one. Among them, obviously, access to Wi-Fi, calling a taxi, elder recognition, because in Shanghai you have the issue of a lot of elders that are lost. So you have like different kind of technology embedded on this prototype. But on the other hand, this architecture that resembles, in a way, the original phone booth, with the roof that is triangular, with the color that is red, but we just make the lines a little bit softer, a little bit easier to digest, let's say. Also, there's a selfie wall incorporated, as you can see, so people can take a selfie. So the project becomes a landmark in the virtual world by itself. And now I want to show a few of the projects that we are getting ready now. This is under construction, but it's almost done. It's quite large. In a residential area in Xi'an. This is a very small project in the very center of Dubai, Al Fahidi neighborhood. It's a public plaza, absolutely public. The buildings that are surrounding it have 100 years of existence. They look like sandcastles, essentially. And this project is going to be a public plaza just right in the center of this historical neighborhood. This is inspired, obviously, on naval history of the Arabian Peninsula. This is another project that we are doing in Sharjah, the Emirates. It's resembling sea urchins and other kind of sea creatures. It's a small plaza, but I think that also is going to be ready very soon. Quite beautiful shapes. This project is in Fuzhou. It's also in a residential area in Fuzhou. 5 different components with different activities, each of them attracting youngsters, kids, and different kind of age groups. This project is built already in Barcelona. Again, waiting for the official photos, but it's a very small project, our first project in Barcelona, so I'm very excited about that. I wanted to show it to you. A project that we are now starting construction drawings for Russia. This is the second project that we are actually hiring in Russia. Why I'm showing you this? Because I'm very excited about the future of our company and the future of our concept, because from Shanghai, although we are not Chinese, we are designing architecture from China to the world. And that's something that makes me very proud as well. Thank you very much. That will be it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Jesus. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.